Hello, everyone. It's Jessica Vallis of Harford Designs, and today we are going to go over how to build out a wireframe in Adobe XD. Let's get started. Here I have an existing artboard filled out. I'm going to double click this here and just call this home because this is going to be my home page. And I can go over on the side here and pick out different elements to include. Normally on a website, you would have the navigation, the hero, maybe some features, an about section. So we can build that out. First, I'm going to start with the navigation. I'm going to just pop in a space or placeholder for my logo. And I would like to make this align with the columns so I can keep my circle circular, perfect circle, by holding the shift key. Next, I'm going to come over to the type and I can put button 1, for example. If I want to center this on there, I can come over to this right area and click center. Now it will be lined up. I can make the button bigger by doing this. I can also just center it this way. So once I have my button, I'm going to want to duplicate this for the multiple menus that I'm going to have. So let me just hold Option and Shift on the Mac and drag it into place. You'll notice this wants to click into place. It's saying that there's 64 pixels between. It wants to snap there. So follow your guides and the recommendation here. Okay, so it looks like I didn't have this perfectly center, but that's okay. At least we have the navigation. The next part is the hero image. Sometimes heroes run the width of the screen. This is called a bleed when you bleed it. Another thing you can do is just create something that's boxed. Maybe you don't need it to bleed. So for this one, I'm going to make sure that it starts where the logo does, and I'm going to make sure that it's proportional. So I'm not going to have it bleed off this way. I'm not going to have it longer on one side. I'm going to keep it within that. For the purpose of the client that I'm intending to build this out for, I think this is more appropriate. I can see what size it is by viewing over here. I generally like to keep things within an even pixel. So the 364 seems fine, but for height, we can change this to maybe 550. That'll just be better for developing images in Photoshop. Now that I have this, it's time to insert maybe some overlay text. So let's go here and say, attention grabbing text. And for this one, I'm a fan of left align, so we're going to left align it here. I'm not going to worry about the formatting for this wireframe. It's not important. We don't have the style finalized yet, but for the purpose of this, we're just going to put placeholders in so we can visualize where everything is going to go. If you're working with a client, you should have your pages outlined beforehand to know what you're going to need and where. So you're not just building a website out of thin air. The next thing I can add is, I'm probably going to need to add my H2 at this point. So let's see, I'm going to line it up likely, maybe with this text here, and we'll put header 2. When you're building out a website, you have header 1, header 2, and all the way down to H3, 4, 5, and 6. You're going to want to organize your site in the order of the number, basically. There is one header on every page, and there can be multiple header 2s, multiple header 3s, as long as they are in, like I said, a hierarchy order. So let's just say this is my header 2, and this is where I'm going to advertise my products. That works out good. Next, I have to determine what I'm going to add below. So if I'm going to add 3, 4, 5, 6 products. Usually 3 and 4 is the standard below. You don't want to overwhelm your consumer. So I'm going to add a couple boxes here, and I can make them this length with here. Again, holding Shift and Option, I'm dragging into place. I'm going to do that again. And one more time. You see on both sides, I have the two boxes. It might not make sense to left align this. It might be best as centered. Again, I can center that text, and my site wants to snap here to the middle. Works out. If I need to make this artboard bigger, I can double click into it. You'll see this little circle here and you drag it down. Then you can continue to build out your site. When you're doing this, consider spacing. So if my header starts here, how much spacing do I have between this and where the header starts? I want to keep it consistent. So I can create some guides of my own. You'll see over in the view, there's a show grid layout. This might get a little bit complicated. I don't think it's as clear. So let me go and hide this one, and I will put back on my grid. I prefer this one. So what I can do for here, if I always want to have 150 pixels top, I'll just make a shape, come over here, and I'll say that the height I want to be 150, and I generally make it the same across. So I can do this and add a guideline all the way across. So now I know that my header 2 should probably start at this 150 mark. If 150, oh, I grabbed that by mistake. If the 150 seems too big, I can go ahead and adjust it down to 100. That might be better. So let's do 100 by 100. Probably seems a little bit more proportional for this. Drag those up. I forgot this one, but see how it wants to snap into place. Very important. So now, if I wanted to add a new section below, let me drag this box down. And I'm going to just grab all of this here and drag it down. I now have a new section for a header 2, but this would just be maybe the about section. I want to keep the same amount of spacing between this section and where this article starts as well. So let me hold down Option Shift. For this, if I add 100 spacing between the header and where everything starts, it might seem a bit too large. So maybe if I take it down to 50, it'll seem more proportional. All right, so again, I probably should have done this in the first step, but I can just grab everything and drag it up. I wouldn't necessarily worry about the spacing at the beginning, because as we build out this site, if this becomes font 50, which I don't doubt it, you see my spacing is going to be off. So don't worry about it too much at the beginning, but just be mindful as you build out your site.